Hold your breath. Okay, we're live. So, Doug, hit it.
Stuart, Yoshida, and the OokTown podcast.
Wow. That was succinct. Thank you, Doug. That was Doug. Aloha, patrons and listeners. This is Stuart Yoshida, host of the OokTown podcast, where we talk about all things ukulele. This is the second part of our special series. Let me get my mic up a little closer for celebrating our 100th episode and 10th anniversary of podcasting, which, yay, never thought we'd make it there.
Yay!
Woohoo!
Yeah. And we've got some of our guests that we've had on for their regulars, and I want to bring them on, get their perspective on the 10th anniversary, what's going on next, and all that kind of good stuff. And first, I wanted to send a shout out to Rob Mapu. He is on a trip to Oahu, and he's going to get some more ink on his sleeve, which is amazing to think you're going to go all the way to Hawaii just to get that. However, I'm sure there's some good artists, tattoo artists there. So awesome, Rob. And say hello to Kimo. I think you're going to visiting with Kimo Hussey there. Tell him we'd love to have him on the show. Doug, do you have any shout outs?
Well, a big shout out to everybody at the Pandemic Pluckers. Always fantastic to play with those guys, and my genetic twin, Dave Brown, who's listening to this out in California.
Awesome. And anyone else have a shout out before we begin? All right. Well, to start off, I wanted to do some Jeopardy questions and to introduce our guests. And Doug, you're going to have to answer these. Okay. Are you ready? All right. Okay. He is the longest running guest on the show that we still have with us.
That would be Gerald Ross.
That's incorrect. You have to answer with
Are you
a
serious?
question.
Who is? I was going to say that.
Yeah, go ahead.
How many episodes? How many episodes was I on already?
I don't know.
Who
That's
is
a good
Gerald
question.
Ross?
He was
Thinking
on
about this. I
Go ahead.
20 episodes. How long? You've been on 10 years, and
Yeah.
what it was on like 3-4 times. Yeah, I'm like the if Stuart can't get else, Gerald will do it. He just sits home all the time.
You know what? You know what's weird? Okay, so the right answer is who is Gerald Ross, and we're gonna test Doug again. But you have been on probably probably close to 20. I don't know, 10 or 20. I don't know. Doug will find out, I'm sure.
It scares me because I wouldn't want to listen to the tapes of those old shows because I'm sure I just repeat the same stories and jokes over and over again.
Actually, I think you had so many stories that I don't really think you repeated very many. I can't. I don't remember myself saying, "Oh yeah, Gerald, I remember that one from episode X." So you've been doing good.
Yeah.
All right. So here's my next one. Who is the
Oh, thank you.
Who is the guest? No, I'm sorry. She is the guest that I did not realize I was using her stage name. Doug, go for it.
Is it Victoria Vox?
Okay, you did it wrong again. Who is Victoria Vox?
No, she's the guest on our show. She's just right up there.
Someone doesn't watch Jeopardy.
Yeah, apparently not. We're gonna have to get someone else to answer these questions, these Jeopardy questions, because
Who is Victoria Vox?
Yes, who is Victoria Vox? She was the guest. I did not realize that I was using her stage name. I didn't until she told me, and then I thought, what? All right, and finally, he does.
Who is Matt Steed?
Oh man!
That was
can you tell me?
I
I was just wondering.
Okay.
Hang on. He's got
Who
these
is?
points for pronunciation.
Oh, Stead.
Yeah.
Oh, you got it wrong again. Oh no.
3 for 3.
Three for three. And before you allowed, so here was the answer I was going to give for the Jeopardy question. He gives his seminars, ukulele seminars in the forest. So that was the one I was going to give. And that is, who is Matt Stead? There you go. Matt, welcome back to the show.
Great to be on. Hi, Stuart. Hi, everyone.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Who is, this is not Jeopardy anymore. Just curious. Who is fully vaccinated? Anyone? Oh, Doug. Good on you.
So at the place where I work, we did a vaccination clinic where we got 5,000 people through in a day.
Wow.
And hi.
Yeah,
Hi.
Hello, Margaret.
Oh, it's my wife. My wife, Margaret.
Oh, Sweetwater Music? Is that the Sweetwater Music?
Victoria.
Yeah, I get all these free T-shirts, and Margaret steals.
Yeah, she should have one that says Gerald went to Hawaii, and all I got was this T-shirt. Okay, where were we? Oh, Doug, vaccination clinic.
Oh yeah, so the Thursday before the clinic, they said, we have people that have never done an injection before. Do we have any volunteers? I'm like, me! And so I went out there and they said, well, which arm do you want it in? And I said, at this point, I would take it in my eye. So,
yeah. So, but now where did you get the second one though? Or was it the Johnson &
in
Johnson?
My arm.
When did you get your second one, or did you have the Johnson & Johnson?
No, well, and see, that was the other bonus is they were at my place of work, so I was there anyway. So,
so when they did the second clinic, that you were there also, and that's how you got it also.
Yep. Yeah,
nice.
I worked both of the clinics, so it made it super easy.
That is very easy. That is super easy, and hopefully we'll get Gerald back. The birds may have stolen his internet. I don't know. Hey, Doug, you're oh, never mind. I know what it is. I was thinking that the aspect ratio was different, but no, it's StreamYard is doing its job because we have.
There's so many people, so many fantastic guests today.
Yay! All right, we're going to go around the horn here, and was just going to talk about, and we'll get back to Gerald once he rejoins us, hopefully. Reminiscing about your first OokTown podcast. I don't even remember now. And we lost Gerald, but hopefully he'll come back. And I'm going to be honest, I didn't do enough research, and I don't actually remember what the first podcast was. So, Victoria, you're going to have to help us out here.
No, this is the first podcast that I was a part of.
Yeah.
I think that it was at the Denver Uke Fest when we were in the auditorium, and there was Victor and Penny and Daniel ate the sandwich.
Really?
And I think that was the first one.
Oh, wow. Awesome. That
would have been 2000. I don't know. 15?
Could be. Oh, here comes Gerald. Let him get him back on the stream. That would be then the podcast where I embarrassed myself by assuming I knew your name and I didn't.
Or maybe there was one before. I don't know. I can't remember either.
Well, that's good. That means you've been on the show so many times. And that is awesome. Okay. Then Matt, what do you remember about the first podcast? And I
don't remember. It was in my old shop because I remember it being in a kind of like dark room and stuff. So I think it was in my old shop. Yeah, I think
you were in the process of moving to your new shop.
Yeah, but it was, to be fair, it was only about 3 meters away. My old shop from my new shop. It's just bigger.
Yeah,
but and lighter. But yeah, I think I was a bit starstruck because I used to listen to OokTown for ages, and it was like,
wow.
hang on, like I'm on the screen, I'm not just listening. Like,
yeah. And for those of you in the United States, that's about 15 feet is 3 meters. It's not like 3 football fields. It's 3. It's 15 feet. Hey, how long is a football field in the UK? Because I actually have no idea.
Oh man, I don't know.
Yeah, like you can give me it in meters.
Are you saying a football field or a football field?
A football field, I guess. What's the British pronunciation of?
I don't know, like 50 meters or something. I don't really know.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, Doug's looking it up. I can tell. I can see his fingers.
He goes looking up place.
But is that a tenor field or a soprano field?
Oh.
Hey, I'm impressed you said football and not soccer.
Hey, I know a little British speak, you know.
I'm impressed, mate. I'm impressed.
Right. We had a trip. Go ahead, Doug.
So it's 90 to 120 meters.
Oh, wow, I was miles off.
Wait a minute. What do you mean it's
yards?
How come it varies?
I don't know.
Huh.
Space is limited in Europe.
Yeah. So they allow different size fields, really.
Yeah, I don't know if you know the Arsenal team in the like 80s. They used to play on a really small pitch because they used to play like really bad football where they wouldn't pass it around. They just lob it towards the goalkeeper, and it meant that the other teams couldn't play very well. That was their thing.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Here, I got a question for you. I haven't seen this yet, but it's on Apple TV, I guess. They have a show about a soccer team, a British football team, where an American has gone over to, I guess, coach them or manage them. Or what is it called? I was wondering if you'd seen that yet and what you thought of it.
No, I've not seen it. It does sound good though. I'm gonna have to look it up.
It's really good. And the guy who's is a great comedian. What is his name? Doug, you're gonna have to help
Burns.
Me. No.
So it's a variation on the Jamaican bobsled movie.
A little bit, but I think it's more involved where this, for some reason this guy's down on his luck or whatever, and then he starts helping out this team. Oh, and as soon as you say the guy's name, I'll be kicking myself.
He needs to come and help out my team because Swindon got relegated this weekend. So
what does that mean?
Means we went down a league. We were so bad we went down a league. We finished bottom.
That's interesting that they do that in British soccer, that they actually, it'd be like a really bad NFL team being put into the CFL. Do they still have Canadian football? I don't know. All right.
And I just want to remind Stuart that he gave me grief one time for not talking enough about ukuleles. So we'll throw it right back at him.
No, I never would do that.
Mm-hmm. Are you talking about the
sports?
Yeah, exactly. My favorite sports ball team has to be Manchester United.
Wow. Are they like the Oakland Raiders of soccer or something? Or are they more like the New England Patriots?
They're like the Patriots more.
Okay.
I would say that they were more like the Patriots.
All right.
But I actually my best friend is a big Premier League guy, and so anytime I just want to take a nap, I'm like, hey, how's Premier League going? And he goes, oh, well, let me call you.
Have you got 3 hours?
Doug is freezing up. All right, let's get to Gerald here. Gerald, what do you remember about the first podcast, which was years and years ago?
I don't remember. It's all a blur. I mean, I do your podcast, and then there's the big party afterwards with the buffet and the booze and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, wow. Oh, thanks for talking us up like that. That's really nice of you. Right. With the virtual.
It just takes 2 days for the check to arrive. Thank you.
All right. All right. The big payoff too. That's another huge benefit of being on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can remember that that I was like I had EP on, so it was really the core was Doug, myself, and EP Davis. Yeah. And I was thrilled that we could expand the pool and have Gerald, because it was like, having the first no, I don't want to say real guest, but it was like, woo, we're expanding the pool. And
but back then it was all audio, right?
Yes, exactly. That's another interesting thing, is that it was all audio. And I'd never met you in person, and that was another really great thing about these podcasts, that we'd be able to talk and get to know each other. And in fact, I hadn't really thought about it, but when we did finally meet, it was kind of weird, because it was like, oh yeah, I know you. Was it at the Hawaiian Steel Guitar Festival?
There was the HSGA convention, Hawaiian Steel Guitar Association, when it was up in Fort Collins.
Yes.
Remember, our guest, I met you when Jeff Ahoy, the Hawaiian Steel guitarist, was our guest, and you and I were in the band.
Yeah.
Remember, you were in the backup band.
I was in the backup band, Sweating Bullets.
Yeah. And I was the band leader who had to copy like 400 sheets of music a half hour before we went on stage.
Right.
It was a fun time, but I got really good at that.
Yeah. Well, you went on from there to actually host your own ukulele festival, the Ashokan.
Yeah, I did Ashokan for 7 years. I had Victoria.
What?
You can, Victoria. Yeah. And I did it for 7 years. And when year 8 came into my, it was a lot of fun for 7 years. I loved it. The festival kept growing each year. But when year 8 rolled around, after doing it for 7 years, I just didn't feel 100%. I said,
right.
I don't want to do a half-assed job, And so luckily, Ben Hassinger was doing the festival with me for the most of it, and Ben took over. He took over during the pandemic, which I don't envy about.
Is that when he took over? I didn't even realize that was his first year. Oh, so he took over in 2020. Wow. Yeah, that was a tough year.
Yeah, that's a tough thing to do, because Ashokan is such a beautiful place for a festival.
Right.
It's up in the Catskill Mountains, and you can go look at the Ashokan Reservoir, which is this. It just looks like this beautiful, huge mountain lake. And there's rivers and woods. It's nice. So that will come. As many festivals will.
Oh, I heard the food is good too there.
Yeah.
And I offered to work in the kitchen, but you never took me up on that. So
that's not. I'm sorry. I do not do housing. I do not do catering.
Okay.
My role is very defined there. People would come up to me and complain about their rooms. I say, sorry, I'll show you the person to talk to, but I am not that person.
Well, that was the nice thing about the Ashokan, is that they were like a well-oiled machine in terms of the retreats, it seems like. And so you could just plug in.
They've been doing it for 40 years or so. I mean, not ukulele festivals, but just, music in the woods, music getaways.
Yeah.
So they all the rough edges have been sanded down.
And Marcy Markser and Kathy do a lot of festivals, or used to do a lot of festivals there too, right?
Mm-hmm. We had them at Ashokan a couple of times, and you see, Ashokan, what they do is they divide the summer up into weeks, but I first became involved with them in like 2009 or so at the Ashokan Western and Swing Festival. It's not the
Western and Swing. Yeah, it's like
it's
country.
not Western Swing, which makes total sense because they teach traditional country music, and they also teach traditional swing music.
Okay.
And one of the cool things about Ashokan is people love to dance. They have this huge outdoor dance pavilion, and every night there's a dance that starts at 8 o'clock and is over with by midnight. And half the night is a traditional swing band with horns and piano and drums and everything like that. And the other half of the night is traditional country with steel guitars and electric guitars and drums. And the dance floor is packed all night long. It's
Wow.
every night of the festival. So it is Western and swing.
And swing. All right.
And I get to
Because, all
play in
right.
both bands because with the steel guitar, it fits with the country part of the evening.
Right.
And with the swing stuff, I just sit in with the horn section. And I just listen to what the horns are playing. I try to duplicate that on my steel guitar, so it's a fun evening.
Oh,
What are we talking about? I forgot.
that was in the range of what we're talking about. All right. Well, so the next thing I was going to have you guys talk about is what do you miss about the old days of ukulele, maybe 10 years ago? It's because I don't know if it's changed a lot. You can reflect on that too, whether or not it's changed much. And then if so, what do you miss? And Victoria?
Oh, I don't know. It's evolved over the years for sure. Let's see, 10 years ago, that was 2010, 2011.
Mm-hmm.
And, it was a little different. There were probably, I don't know whether there were more festivals or, I don't know. I think it's changing with the times. And obviously in the past year, a lot of things have moved online. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's definitely there's obviously new artists coming onto the scene. I don't know a lot of them. It kind of used to be back in the day. There was a very tight, it seemed like it was, a tight group of people that were at the festivals, and it was kind of like little reunions.
Yeah.
Every time, and then as the scene grew, it was harder to keep that kind of vibe going. And then we're all just kind of, maybe more festivals, and we're all kind of like all over the place and rarely in the same place at the same time. And then there's new artists. And so, I miss the days of playing with Kimo Hussey and James Hill and, Gerald, and we're all in this, Casey McGill and Del Rey, and we're all in the same room together. Like I do miss that. I learned so much from so many of fellow ukulele players, and I was the new girl on the scene, and so I just have a lot of for being the newbie at the time.
Right.
I have a lot of respect and appreciation for all those folks that have been doing it long before me.
Yeah. I just and that's an interesting observation, because you're a veteran now of the ukulele festival circuit. I would say, not that I've been on the circuit very much, but just seeing you around, I noticed that you've been on a lot at the festivals.
I was kind of thrown into it, early. I got sponsored by Koaloha ukulele in December 2005, and then April 2006 was the first New York City ukulele festival, which then I performed at for like 7-8 years in a row. But that was kind of my introduction to it. That's where I met James and, just a slew of people. But I'd only been playing for a few years. And then there's players who've been, playing their whole life and 20 years before me. And so, yeah, I was the newbie.
Yeah.
And I had no idea what I was doing at the time.
Hey, you just fake it till you make it. Well, you know what? I just found out that Kimo Hussey was actually not doing the ukulele circuit until probably about the time that you mentioned, about 10 years ago. He's been a musician probably all his life, but I guess he kind of went into the, big fish, small pond kind of thing. So I was kind of surprised at that.
Yeah, I met Kimo it was like, I think it was the summer of 2006 in San Diego at the ukulele. It might have been one of their first ukulele festivals as well.
Wait a minute. You've been on this ukulele festival circuit for a while then.
Yeah, I just kind of was, once I was put on the Koaloha website, that it really kind of sparked as the festivals were looking for artists, and being that I was on the mainland, and readily available as a full-time musician. you know, they're like, do you want to come to San Diego? Sure. Do you want to come to Portland? Yeah.
Well, I wonder how Ko'aloha found you. And those are awesome ukuleles. You know,
they saw a photo of me in the Honolulu paper in December 2005. It was when I was releasing my debut ukulele album, which I had a friend who ran publicity for me, and I brought her on the tour to Hawaii to be my tour manager. And she did all my press, and we made certain to market the album as, you know, I'm a singer-songwriter and this is my ukulele album. I am not a ukulele player. I am just using the instrument for this record. And, you know, I was playing a fluke at the time. It was the only ukulele, I think one of two ukuleles I had, but the only one I could plug in. And it's basically, you know, I love the flukes, and they're plastic back with a piece of plywood on the front, relatively inexpensive instruments. And, you know, here I am playing in Hawaii. And I think the Ko'aloha guys, they were kind of like, they thought it was kind of a joke at first. Like, what is she doing? What is she playing? Is this for real? And, you know, they checked out my music and they emailed me, which was, you know, really, it came at a really important time because I'd only been in Hawaii for 4 days. And the first gig I played in Hawaii, I was asked to stop playing the ukulele.
Wow.
So I was pretty bummed. The vibe on Oahu was a little different. I mean, this is before the explosion of the ukulele. This was, you know, they were still trying to hold on to it and conserve
on the mainland. The resurgence on the mainland, right?
Yeah, and so, you know, I'm a white girl. I'm a white girl playing Psycho Killer on the ukulele. And they're like,
who's
what
that
the hell
Holly
is she
girl
doing?
playing with the ukulele? Tell her to stop. That is so
you know, they
amazing.
were okay that I could play somewhere. I was told I was in advance. I could play somewhere over the rainbow, but that was it.
No kidding. Oh man. Well, things just changed. Hopefully.
Yeah. You were in the wrong place. I'm sure someone would have appreciated
It was a local kava bar, you know, very, you know, where the owners would say aloha, but they'd put their foreheads together and breathe. Like, they wouldn't say aloha, they would just breathe, and they're sharing the same air. And so it was just kind of that kind of place. And so I got to Maui, and the vibe was completely different on Maui. But my music was accepted, but I got the email from Ko'aloha, and they said, you know, we've listened to your music. We feel your aloha spirit, and we hope no one's gotten to you yet. We'd love to sponsor you. And so I left Hawaii with a pineapple sundae.
Wow. You know, nothing against flukes because they have their place. And that was a huge upgrade.
Yeah.
That going from that to a Ko'aloha pineapple ukulele.
Yeah, that was worth
pretty
the
amazing.
trip and worth the being told to stop playing.
All right. Oh, well, thanks for reminiscing with us. Okay, well, Matt, what were you doing 10 years ago with the ukulele?
I was kind of just doing little indie pop gigs. So I kind of started playing ukulele kind of just because I didn't want to carry around a massive acoustic guitar with my old band. So I was kind of doing it, but it wasn't like a thing. It was just part of my set. I think the thing that I miss most of all from kind of 10 years ago, maybe even a bit more, was just that kind of the novelty of it. It's kind of a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because I'm really happy that it's not a novelty anymore. I love the fact that it's just entered popular culture and music, and people can play ukulele as part of a band, and it's just like, yeah, that's what they do. But I kind of miss like kind of being at concerts, and I get my little back then it was like a mahalo, you know, like cheap red shiny thing, and I just get it out, and people would be like, whoa, what's that? Is it like a mandolin? Is it like what is this weird instrument? And now it's like you get a ukulele out at a guitar show and everyone's like, yeah, we're all in ukulele bands and we know what it is, you know. So I guess just that kind of special novelty thing that we used to have that I miss slightly.
Yeah, and now it's transitioning to be very commercial. Not that I think that's fine too. You know, Lucy LaForge just did a really nice infomercial on the Fender Billie Eilish model of an ukulele. And I was like, wow, we've come a long way. Now it's like
Yeah.
Billie Eilish, and we got an official sponsor, and she does a wonderful job too. And I was like, yeah, that's some pretty nice. I think they have a Fishman Matrix pickup on there or something. Anyway, it's a really pretty nice ukulele. And yeah, it just really has changed now. Which is good.
Definitely. I think it's a good thing. I think it's what I always wanted, really, was it to just become like an accepted part of the musical landscape, which is really cool. You see, like I say, you see ukuleles in bands and you don't blink twice.
Right.
I still get the occasional thing, you know, I don't know if you guys get it, where every now and then someone will say, wow, have you seen this video of this guy in Central Park playing Bottom Like Jelly Beans?
I can't believe that is still the thing, you know. Yeah, that guy's. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, you know, yeah.
Yeah, 13 years ago.
Yeah,
yeah. There's this guy who's done Billie Jean on the ukulele. It's like, yeah, I know.
Yeah. He plays it with chopsticks too. It's really weird. He's like, yeah, no.
but in some ways, that's really nice. I almost feel jealous of them because it's like they're getting that first, you know, that first time you hear it, and it's really special. It's really lovely, isn't it?
No, and the thing about it is that nowadays it's like because it exploded so much. There's such a range of instruments and styles and music. It's just way more diverse than it was.
Whenever I get sent the "Smells Like Teen Spirit" Orchestra of Great Britain clip, the thing that I always go back to is, here is somebody that saw something they thought was awesome and cared enough about me to say, I want to share this with Doug Brown. So I will look at that. And well, besides any chance I get to see Jake play, is always awesome. But yeah, I get that too. And always look forward to it.
Yeah. And you can't spoil it for them. So you've got to say, yeah, that's amazing. You know, it's okay.
I try and do that. That's a good point. Try not to burst their bubble. And
yeah, like, you were the 8th person to send this to me this hour. Today.
No, but it's more like, well, you're about the 100th person, but that was about 2 years ago. You know, it just has changed, because now it's less frequently that I'll get that. Oh yeah, I saw this guy in Central Park. Oh, Strawberry Fields. Yeah, and he was playing this. Yeah, my guitar gently weeps. Yeah, and it's Jake Shimabukuro. I try not to do that, but
yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing so much. Those are great memories.
Speaking of,
go ahead, Doug. You are next, actually. Go ahead.
Oh, very good. Yeah, what I said before.
All right. Well, we'll take this break to welcome. I think it's Lisa, the Ukulele Fool, is on, and Ritesh is back on to the stream. Thank you so much for joining us. And let me check here. All right, there we go. Oh, how do I get back? Oh, here we go. You know, this is I was talking with Victoria. She was talking to me about StreamYard. So I really like StreamYard in terms of, you know, they have a really well laid out format here. I wonder if Zoom is ever going to catch up, but for now it's all good. So Doug, anything else you want to reminisce about 10 years ago?
Well, I mean, I think the biggest thing was I had, by 10 years ago, I had already been doing the president of the Denver Ute community for 5 years at that point.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I started playing ukulele 18 years ago. 18 years. Wow. 4 months and 6 days, because Tavy was the day my daughter was born. My dad gave me my first ukulele and said, "Hey, maybe you should play some Old MacDonald." And I played almost every day since. You would think that I would be better than I am, but yeah, and the idea of, and one of the things that I like the most about OokTown is it's given me a chance to, number one, talk to so many amazing people, but it also gave me the chance to kind of really look at what it is about the ukulele that I love more than anything, and playing in groups that's kind of my jam. That I don't necessarily want to become Jake or I'd be Django Reinhardt or anybody else. I want to be the guy with the group all going in the same direction, and it makes me so happy. And if an occasional house concert that Victoria Vox is at blows up in the outskirts of Denver, that's always awesome as well.
Yeah, was that the Arvada one?
The one that I went to a couple of years ago was just excellent.
And Golden.
Golden.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to say I think it was Arvada. And at Elena's house out in.
Oh, yes.
And she actually runs a fantastic group called the Firehouse Ukulele Collective, or FOOK. You have to be careful when you say that name. But super, super duper fun.
Yeah, I remember that house concert was great. That was really special.
Wow.
They all are, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It seems like you've been a frequent visitor to Colorado, Victoria, which is interesting. I guess because you were based on the East Coast. That's a long ways away.
Yeah, I'd get around.
You're a jet setter. Look at you.
So does Gerald.
I know. Gerald has many miles. Speaking of Gerald, let's get his perspective. And Gerald has many miles on under his belt as a musician because he started way back in the day.
So the question is, what was going on 10 years ago?
What do you miss? What do you think about?
One thing I don't miss is I'm glad that the rock stars have forgotten about the ukulele. And,
you mean like Taylor Swift and?
Yeah, and all those people, because I never thought they took the instrument seriously. It was just sort of like, okay, I'm going to play the uke now and sing my songs. So I'm kind of glad that the over the last 10 years, and more people are just getting into the uke as an instrument and not as a. And I remember 10 years ago, you'd have to explain yourself. You'd get up on stage to an audience that's not a uke audience, and as soon as you take out the uke, you're already behind the 8-ball a little bit because people in the audience are laughing. And you don't have to do that anymore. The instrument's been around long enough and it's been used by so many people that what used to happen is when I would fly to a gig, riding on the shuttle bus to the airport, holding my case in my hand, people would say to me, "What is that? What are you holding?" 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I used to say it's a violin. Right. The reason I said that, I didn't want to get into a discussion about it.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be left alone. I didn't want to have to defend the ukulele on the 5-minute shuttle trip. So, and now I was just on a flight a couple weeks ago, and a guy said, "Hey, is that a ukulele?" And I said, "Yeah, it is." And he says, "Cool." I didn't have to explain anything.
Nice.
So we've come a long way.
Yeah, that Ritesh is commenting on that too. Is that when you meet a uke player nowadays, they already know a lot something about it, and that's a really nice thing. Like and the rock star thing, I agree with you too. Lucy on our last show was mentioning that Billie Eilish actually uses it to help compose songs because it's such a nice instrument to just pick up, throw a tune together, and then you can.
You're here to that.
There you go, and that's and that's a real good use of it. It's not like she's promoting the ukulele because she played it once. She likes to bring it out in concert or anything. It's just that's the way she likes to compose.
I think she used to play as a kid. That was was an instrument that she regularly played.
Yeah, I think so. And that's why it's more authentic that she has a Billie Eilish ukulele, versus I don't think we have one anyway, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was a Taylor Swift ukulele, but she only brings it out, to I don't know.
One song.
Yeah, for the one song.
Back a while ago, a lot of rock stars would do promotional pictures, or they do music videos where they were holding an accordion because they thought the accordion looked cool. It's not like they played the accordion. It's just
what do you mean? What do you mean? Thought they looked cool? They the accordion.
Accordions are beautiful. I love accordions,
accordions.
But you know what I mean. They were just posing because the accordion was a cool prop, and I never liked the idea of using an instrument as a prop. So,
right. Yeah, unless you really get into it like Weird Al Yankovic, then I'm all in.
I respect Weird Al because he actually, if you watch his hands, he's actually playing the.
Oh no, yeah, he's absolutely polka and everything. Yeah, he's actually really good. So good on him. Yeah, see, that's the kind of guy you respect when they have a accordion. We're gonna unless you guys have some, we can go into revisit ukulele club names. And Doug, you can't. You already brought up Fook. Did I say that right? Thank you. All right, and we already know about your twin brothers, Scum,
Santa Clarita Ukulele Monopoly,
right?
And that club plays heavy metal, ska, and punk songs on the ukulele.
Right. So we were going to go into the best club names that you've heard of. And I think Victoria is taking a break, so we're going to go to Matt. Oh no, she's back. So Victoria, we were talking about.
I'm just getting my charger.
Oh, good. Yeah, we don't want you to drop out. Talking about club names. Any good ones that you know of, like Fook or Scum? Those are good. I don't know why, but ukulele clubs seem to have like the best names. Why? I wonder what
There's the plucking strummers.
The pandemic pluckers, are you talking about?
No, I think it just to substitute the F word.
Oh,
but it's like the plucking.
Yeah, they're in Los Angeles, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Doug, you know all of these. What the heck?
When I first started playing the ukulele and like researching, I named my first album Victoria Vox and Her Jumping Flea, because on the back of the ukulele box that I bought in Hawaii, it said uku, flea, lele, jumping. And I was like, oh, it's my jumping flea. I thought I was being so clever. And then come like 2006, I'm researching, everything. And it's just like, oh, the flea jumpers, the jumping flea circus, there's like everything was jumping flea for a while there.
Yeah, that was kind of like the origin of the name. Oh, and that's actually contested too in Hawaii. That the royalty did not like that the ukulele, which the name does mean jumping flea or fleas. They thought that was not prestigious enough. So they said, well, ukulele also means gift from afar. Now, I don't know if they were making that up just so that it had a better name, but yeah, it's had its.
How would we know?
Right. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know the Hawaiian language that well, but they claimed the royalty, like Queen Liliuokalani and David Kalakaua. They were like, no, this means gift from afar. Don't mix it up with that lowly jumping flea. So I don't know. I go with the jumping flea, by the way, because that makes more sense. Where the legend has it that when the Portuguese came off the ship, the Raven Scrag, they were so happy they started playing the folk instrument, which would be later become the ukulele, and they were just really going up and down the fretboard, and the fingers were flying around, and everyone said, "Wow, look at that! It's like they're jumping fleas." I don't know. I like that one better.
We're on land.
Oh yeah.
And meanwhile, they're like, "Please."
Hey, if you were on a sailing ship back then for months at a time, going around the whatever, the Horn of Africa or wherever, the long way around, I would be celebrating too. Won't you think?
They had a different time.
What's that, Gerald? They had a different
concept of time back then. Now everything has to be right now. Back then, if you ordered something in the mail and it'll show up in 3 months, that was that was great. That was the Amazon of its day.
I guess so. I mean, maybe that was the high-speed rail of or the airplane back then. I just just so many things could go wrong on that long of a trip. What is it? 10,000 miles? I don't know what it was. Hey, even now, remember when the Suez Canal backed up and everyone had to go around? They got delayed for months or weeks or whatever it was.
Or moments.
I don't know what it was. How long did it add on to the trip? Because that was not trivial.
A long time.
Well, I think it was just a weeks or so, but they had a boatload of fresh fish and they all went bad.
Yeah. All the refrigerated stuff. Yeah, that was a bad.
They were selling it for cheap, but you had to helicopter in.
Yeah. No.
Of course, a lot of the original passengers were really gutted when they got off the Ravens Crag, because they got there. These dreams have been, like Nunes and that wanted to become cabinet makers.
Exactly.
And they got off the ship and then they were told they're actually contractually obliged to work in the fields for 2 years. So it's like they just got off this massive journey and they couldn't actually fulfill their dream of launching their business.
Oh, I didn't know that they didn't tell them beforehand. Oh, no, that's a new one.
A lot of them signed contracts, but they didn't know what they were signing because they didn't understand.
They didn't read very. They didn't. Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. Wow.
Nunes and Santo and so some of those first ukulele makers, they had to work in the fields for 2 years before they could even start their own businesses.
The majority of them. That's why they brought them over. It was all about sugarcane. It was all about the kingdom needed more workers, so they conscripted people, and it's like you to pay off your ticket, you're going to work in the cane fields for X amount of time. I didn't know that they didn't realize what they were getting into.
Apparently, it's in the John King. I think it's in a John King book. It's pretty,
okay.
So perhaps they weren't like, yay, and then they're like, oh.
Like, yay, when they first got off, then they go, oh, wait a minute. I don't know about the sugarcane gig. Oh, has anyone been in a sugarcane field? Because those leaves are razor sharp.
Oh, nasty.
Yeah, so you have to wear all this protective gear. No, I never worked literally in one. I've been in one, but you get cut by those leaves. So it was not plus the heat and the humidity. Mm-hmm. Yeah, not a pleasant gig. It would be really bad if that was a surprise you got. Oh, by the way, this contract you signed means you're going to work 2 years in the field before you get to do whatever you want. That would be where were we?
By the way, if you're looking for a contract that is not going to put you out in the sugarcane field, you can go and find the recordings of Victoria Vox and her jumping flea at victoriavox.com, and there will be a link in the show notes.
Well, thank you, Doug.
That came out a long time ago.
along with a link to the Uke Room and GeraldRoss.com, where you can find all kinds of fantastic things.
And shout out to Lisa. She's a history nerd. So we got there's some really interesting history about the ukulele. And I'm gonna figure out how to put that into my upcoming Ukulele Kids Academy course. So I was invited by the Ukulele Kids Academy to give us one of their classes. So I will definitely roll that in somehow. What song should go with that? Finding out that you're conscripted for 2 years. I've been working on the railroad. I don't know what, but anyway.
I've been pulling up the sugar cane.
Yeah.
And now my hands are cut.
Yeah. Ooh, we could have a song contest there. All right. Let's see what's coming up next. Oh, collaborating over the internet. Oh, which Lucy brought up a great idea, and I was pre-show. I was going to talk about it, but we were having making sure everyone's connected. Anyway, the thought I had was she said, "Hey, why don't you have your guests prior to the show collaborate, and then play it when they come on the show." So Lucy's out there in LA, and you're out there in OC. So if you ever want to collaborate on a song, feel free, and I'll bring you guys on the show. I'd love to have that. So speaking of which, techniques for collaborating over the internet, and I think we're back around again. So that would be Victoria. I know that you have done a lot of recording. How much collaborating have you done?
Quite a bit, especially, during this year. There's a songwriting festival that I attend. It happens 3 times a year. It's in Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin. So that kind of really kicked it off as far as it was I think it was about this time last year where, 30 to 40 some songwriters get on. We would meet on Zoom. We would spin the bottle the same way that we would in person for songwriting partners, and then break out into groups of 3.
Oh, wow.
And that was kind of our, the challenge with collaborating online, especially in a group like that, is, everyone's got different schedules, work schedules, kids, whatever they've got going on, even though you'd think like, oh, we're all just at home all the time. So it was a little bit challenging. But like just last, I guess just like 10 days ago, I had a songwriting session with a couple of friends, one in New York, one in Atlanta, writing a new song for the new record coming out. And we had a kind of a Zoom session open for 6 hours. People kind of came and went as they, if they needed to. And I just kind of left the thing open, and I was down at the desk, and they could go and, be like, I'll just be here working,
let's back up a little. So first of all, whose album is this? Your album?
It's my album. Yeah, it's my new album.
Nice. Okay. And what were they doing on as far as collaborating? Was it that they were helping write the songs? Okay.
Yeah.
So they were contributing?
Yeah, I mean, it's co-writing. So it's, kind of, I had some vibes created musically, which I could play over the Zoom. This melodic idea, or do you have a lyric, or, and then we just kind of, once we kind of get a melody going, we're like, okay, these are the lyrics. We're going off of artwork as well. So it's an art-based album. And so it's just kind of, it's just honing in on the lyrics, making sure just like, is this phrasing right? Or is there a better word for this? And it's kind of like brainstorming lyrics.
Okay.
And it turned out really cool. It's called Easy Money. And so that's one of the few co-written songs on the record.
Cool.
And, but yeah, it's, it's as far as, it's really cool because we don't have to be in the same city.
That is a cool part.
Co-write.
You're going to have to tell me about now Zoom, because of the latency. You cannot like.
Oh no, we don't. You can't sing and play together. I've even tried Jamulus, which Gerald, have you heard of Jamulus? It's basically a software that enables you to play in real time together as far as the output. But what happens is there's like the Jamulus hub, and you have to play with what's in your headphones. So if you have an acoustic instrument, you're always like, it's really bizarre. And so I'm actually doing Jamulus with it's the Rockin' Ukes group in Morro Bay, California, this week on Wednesday. And I got to the point where Jack was playing fine because he's on electric guitar. And so I'm just hearing his electric guitar in the headphones. And I was trying to play ukulele, and they're playing ukulele on their end. And we were just kind of doing a practice rehearsal. And I'm just like, this is too weird. Like, I'm just going to sing. So I can sing with what's in time, with what's in my headphones. It does sound like latency in my head, but what is heard on the other end is just people playing together.
There's the part where you have to, that you ignore the video. Is that what you have to do? Kind of, is there any video involved, or is it mainly just audio?
I can't, no, it's video. Because I'm in the same room with Jack, I basically can't look at him, because if I look at him, because if you're moving in time, and then I'm like seeing his body move with the beat, but then I'm hearing this, that it's always after, and I'm, so I'm just like,
that would be,
look at him. So I just only strictly go off. I can move with the music, but I'm just strictly going off of what's in my ears.
That would be okay. I get it now.
It's very bizarre.
what would be what now if everyone is doing it, I think the part that made it so much harder was that you were in the same room with someone doing the Jamulus. So it's like, you would think that they would be in time with you, but they're not. They're on a couple microsecond delay or whatever, 20, 50
we did.
microsecond.
The other way to work around it is that we would just take our headphones off and we would lead it and we would count it off and play together in the room. But then the other people on the other side of the internet would be listening to play with us.
I think one of your problems probably was you were playing an acoustic instrument and you were using the microphone on your phone or your iPad or computer, and Jack was using his solid body Fender guitar, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're going through a mixer, so everything is still in the headphones, but you still get bleed of the acoustic instrument.
You need a solid body uke to plug in.
Electric uke
for those type of situations.
Well,
so you don't get all the latency between all the sound.
Well, I think it should be okay if they're all playing through the same mixer. Hopefully this isn't getting too nerdy for everybody.
I'm just gonna, for that song, I'm just going to sing,
I see.
But I do think it works better. I know that there was a NPR piece on it on Jamulus. There's another one called Jack something. But it worked best within a 500-mile radius.
Oh, really?
It has to do, it's a very mathematical thing of like how far are you and how long does it take to travel, and so Jamulus kind of creates a hub.
Okay.
And you can choose which hub you want to go off of.
I can kind of see that, where if you're too far away, there's too much latency, and then everything could really get bunged up. So that's interesting.
So musicians like in New York, jazz improv, jazz players could like literally jam together, and it would
in the city
be. You wouldn't notice the latency as much.
Oh, that is cool. Wow. All right. Well, that's really good to know. See, I've been really wanting to find out. Now that's a real-time thing. Do you do, well, let's get to Matt. Maybe we'll do a couple rounds on this one because it really good stuff, Victoria. I want to get some from everybody on their view on the internet collaboration. Do you do any either virtual where you pass back and forth or real time, quote unquote, collaboration, Matt?
Yeah, I'm doing an album with Rob Ash, the guy who played bass on my last album, The Wens, that we did together. And that was recorded live in a studio, so this is really different. But we're just using GarageBand, so Rob will record a part and I'll record a part, and we'll just pass it forward between each other. So easy to do now, using WeTransfer or whatever.
Tell me about that. No, so which transfer? Because back in the day, it used to be Dropbox. What do you guys use now?
Yeah, we quite often use WeTransfer, which is just a way for transferring big files between two people using a link. You just create a file, it creates a link. It's just like Dropbox, really, another way of doing it.
Well, I think that's a lot easier because, trying to get my mom to use Dropbox is like, right. No, I mean, really, it's like the mom test, because if she can't use it, it's not going to be good.
It's probably easier than Dropbox because you can just email a link, and then when they copy the link, it'll literally start downloading. They haven't got to go into your files or whatever.
Cool.
So that could be cool.
Okay.
But my advice would be click track,
yeah,
really, because I've tried doing it with people in the past who have sent me tracks, and they they played in time with themselves, but maybe the chorus goes a little off, so it just makes such a massive difference. And
right, either everyone has to have like the same audio file that they're passing back and forth along with their recorded one, but click track. I'm here. I hear you.
Yeah, but GarageBand is great because if you're both using the same, the same computer program, you just put the song to the start, press play, record your part, perfect time, send it back, and
very cool.
It's been really interesting, but it's definitely a different way of kind of playing with each other because you don't get that energy sometimes you get from a live thing, so you have to replicate that yourself a bit. So I think some of my customers might have thought I've got a bit mad because I keep the windows open in the uke room and they walk past, and to get into the spirit of it, I'm like rocking out. My head's going.
Nice.
they can't hear the part I'm playing with, so they just see me with my little ukulele, and I'm like, heavy metal, you know. So I think some of the people at Hearts Barn where I'm based think, what is Matt? Is he all right?
Nice.
So it's been good fun.
And by the way, it sounds like they have a British version of GarageBand, because it's GarageBand in
GarageBand. Yeah.
Oh no.
Unless you're posh and then you say GarageBand.
Oh, is that right? Ooh, I didn't know that.
If you say garage over here, it's like that's a little bit posh.
Oh, is that right? Wow.
Yeah,
we're all posh here.
I'm down with the kids, obviously, Stuart. So I'm a garage band.
So
Nice.
I was doing a project where I had a bunch of people from this club send in a track, and it was to I had laid down a track that had an audible click track behind it. And on the video I watched one of the people, they were like, dun, dun, dun.
No.
And so by the end of the song, like, they were way out in the weeds. And so I got to explain what it was that we were kind of doing.
Yeah. Keep the headphones on.
Actually, I just thought I do have a bit of serious advice. A lot of people really struggle to play with a click track, just that kind of deep, doom, deep, whatever it is. One of my recommendations is, if you're using something like GarageBand or GarageBand, use one of the virtual drum kits behind, because it's a lot easier for people to play in time with a proper drum kit. And then you can obviously just wipe the drum kit off later on. So a lot of people find that a lot easier.
Yes, electronic. It drives me nuts too. I don't like the electronic clicks. Yeah. And by the way, Matt, I love a British accent. So keep don't go posh. Don't go posh on me.
It is.
It is.
Oh, well,
it's great.
Thank you very much, my dear sire. Much obliged.
It's amazing how well these British actors have gotten American accents. Like, I didn't realize Tom Holland for a while was actually British. So there you go. From the MCU. Shout out to the MCU. There we go.
Some of them are great. I was watching one with Kate Winslet recently, and even me as a British person, I could tell her American accent was really bad. So I was like, I just couldn't. I couldn't concentrate on the film.
Yeah.
I think with Kate Winslet, you don't necessarily. I don't notice it. I'm going to let her go on.
Yeah, no, Kate.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, there's another one. Toni Collette is British, I believe, and she was in. Here's a recommendation. Has everyone? If you haven't seen it, go and see Knives Out, and that is awesome. Chris Evans plays an awesome character on there, and you go, that's Captain America, but it's like, no, but he is really good. And who's the James
Captain
Bond?
America and James Bond?
Yes, James Bond. Who's the James Bond guy? He plays an awesome. Oh, and his Cajun accent, his Southern accent was just spot on to me. But
Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig. Thank you. All right, so there's a TV recommendation or a movie recommendation. Doug, did you have more on the collaboration stuff? Have you used any of these collaboration softwares like Jamulus?
I looked at all of them, but being in Colorado, like, we're really far away from everybody. So and most of the main strums that I do are the ones in London, the ones I've got one in Cairns, Australia, Sacramento, which is tonight, and it's going to be awesome, and Portland are the big ones that I go to like every week.
Yeah.
And so all of those but I know that the Boston guys. Oh, in Boston. So Boston has a ukulele game show that they do once a month, and super duper fun.
Wow.
And I have started doing a game segment where I sing the clues and you have to guess it. But it's super duper fun. So shout out to all of my Boston peeps. But my friend Uva, who is a frequent watcher of the OokTown podcast, his favorite thing, he hosts one in Germany. There's another one that I go to all the time. But one of the themes that he really likes is the duets where you say, hey, I'm going to take the first two lines and then you take the next two lines. And so, it's not perfect, but you do get that sense of, at least everybody's paying attention then, because you want to make sure that. And then there's also Hot Potato, which is my favorite, where you're blasting through American Pie, which is 1,000,000 stanzas long. And when you get to the end of your stanza, you look up and on the Zoom screen, look for a hand, and you go, okay, I'm going to throw it to Victoria. And then Victoria goes, bye, bye, da, da, da. And then she does the mouth trumpet part on it, and it's going to be awesome. And then Matt goes like this, and she goes, oh, okay, take it to Matt. And then, it's fantastic.
There's so much there. So you're playing live, and then you kind of toss it to someone else on the Zoom. And the duet one is kind of, and the duet is kind of the same way, where you kind of agreed, and then you play one part and they play the other.
Yeah.
And it's not, and it works all right. I mean, it's not like a train wreck.
Because there's always, well, and especially there's some folks on the Pandemic Pluckers that are really good at it, where they'll start just a beat early.
Ooh,
and so it'll just come in.
Wow.
Boston Lou, fantastic Boston Lou.
Shout out to Boston Lou. Wow. Mm-hmm. That is interesting because you can kind of figure out the timing on that, but that is tricky. Oh, and by the way, we could have done the trivia introduction with, and she's famous for her mouth trumpet, then you would say, what would you say, Doug?
What?
Never mind. All right. You're fired from the trivia show.
She wants to blow her own horn.
Nice.
Well, it's funny because when I started doing the ukulele game show, I was like, okay, I'm going to be the guy that doesn't care about winning. I just want the funniest answer of all. Cool. And I found out very quickly that I have to answer the right answer. I can't throw it, even if it is funnier. So
Doug, we all know you're competitive because underneath it all, you know that you are the tops in naming the episodes, and you still indeed are. All right, well, let's throw it to Gerald, because Gerald.
Okay. Collaborating over the internet, it's okay. I mean, I don't use any. I mean, it's not the same as sitting in a recording studio with someone 5 feet away from you, or sitting, it's just sitting in your house and recording in your living room. It's I recorded. I did a collaboration with Phil Dolman a year or so ago.
Shout out to Phil.
And Phil sent me the backup tracks, and he wanted me to put a steel guitar or a dobro. I think I used a dobro on it. And we didn't use collaboration tools. He sent me a WAV file, and I just loaded it into my Pro Tools software, and I just played along with it. And I sent him my little steel guitar part back. And it was fun. It sounded good, but, it's not the same as playing with someone and recording.
Right.
You can't, there's no spontaneity. It's not like if all of a sudden someone hits a note and everyone else responds with their instruments. That's what music is. People collaborating. And unfortunately, with the pandemic, this is what we're stuck with. Let's get this pandemic over with so things can get back to normal. I'm glad there are things like these internet collaborations. It keeps us from going crazy, and same with these Zoom type of meetings. But come on, it's not the same as meeting someone in a restaurant for a drink and you play a couple tunes, or you get together with your ukulele clubs and you sit around the table, you have a couple beers and you sing, and someone remembers a song. That's what we need. And hopefully the end is in sight.
It's getting close. Friends of mine, they're doing the outdoor song circle, and right now it's like to the point where we can get a little closer, and if you're vaccinated, we're good to go. And that is the the energy, the vibe, the responding back and forth. That is something.
Yeah. And see, I think I would argue that, and certainly I don't think anybody's saying that that Zoom jamming is better than. I mean, everybody would rather be in a club with people sitting around, but at the same time, my hanging out with Uva and hanging out with Danny in England or Ronan in Ireland. I mean, there's so many people around the world that I play with like almost daily. And you can still get that kind of. We had a strum along the other day where like you signed up, you had an initial song, and then the next person's song related to the first song somehow, and then and it went way far afield in the most excellent way. But I mean, just lots of creative people just trying to strive to get around it, and so I think that and.
Go ahead, Gerald.
It works in those kind of situations where you don't worry about latency times and things like that. To actually, try to you can't, like Victoria said earlier. There's no way you can play along with someone real time on the internet. It just doesn't work because of the latency.
Right.
But
it's
just loses something.
I think it's a tool that is going to, I mean, I know for me, I will probably consider songwriting over the internet like this. And it's been, you can still get really great results. It's a little bit more back and forth.
Yeah, but you're just having a conversation
anytime. Mm-hmm.
But you and your songwriting,
playing together.
Yeah, there's no getting around the playing together and the spontaneity and the kind of, there's that energy that you create in a live situation. And what I love that we're going to take from this pandemic is I'm kind of jealous of Doug, because he has connected with so many people. His ukulele circle has widened exponentially, especially when you consider the distance and the people that he's meeting and talking with, because I don't ever remember. Well, it's not very often that I remember Doug will say, "Oh yeah, I met so and so from England and Germany and blah blah blah." That would be an occasional guest that would drop into the Denver ukulele community and say, "Hey, I heard you on the OokTown podcast and I saw I'd drop in. I'm from California." Now it's like, no big deal. I'm talking to Uva and Mandy and whoever over there in the UK and Boston, Boston Bob. I'm sorry. What was his name?
Boston Lou.
Boston Lou. I'm sorry. Sorry, Lou.
And shout out to Mandy. Mandy's awesome.
Yeah.
But what you're talking about is building communities. And
right.
There's nothing wrong with the internet for that. If there wasn't the internet, the ukulele would not be as popular as it is today. And I wouldn't be traveling around playing the uke if it wasn't for the internet. So it's not like the internet is evil. You just got to use it as the proper tool.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
For building communities and things like that. But for collaborating in a real time art. Maybe if you were songwriting, if you're just passing some ideas back and forth, and someone sends you a verse and you go, why don't you use this word instead of that word? That's fine collaboration, but for real time things, I don't know what we need. I don't know if fiber optics make things.
I'm not sure that we're ever going to get around it, because the physics is still that even at the speed of light, it's going to be hard. You can certainly lay down great tracks over the internet, right? However, I don't know if you're still going to get that spontaneity. We talked about last show, and Doug, you do not have to share this link again, but there's a song by Steely Dan called Asia, where they did that song. It's an 8-minute song, and they got it done in 20 minutes, that is stunning. If you listen to that song, and the drum solo by Steve Gadd and just everyone on there, the horn solos and everything are just incredible. And I don't think they could have gotten it done if they did it virtually. Not that well, not that amazing, and is so tight, right? And they're just, part of it's because they're just great musicians, but we probably won't be able to replicate that even with the fastest technology in the world.
Do you remember that record by the Flaming Lips? It was probably about like 20 years ago or something now.
No.
And they released a record where I can't remember whether it was cassette or CD, but you bought the record as individual parts, so like 5 different parts. And the idea was you'd have to get together with friends who all had their own ghetto blaster or tape player or whatever, and then you all press play at a certain time and then listen to it. And the only way you could listen to it was by listening to it with other people. Yeah, but they had to record it in such a way that it was a bit weird. It was a bit kind of mysterious. But they had to record it in such a way that it didn't matter if someone pressed play like 2 seconds later. It was all a bit kind of noisy. But it's almost like they saw the internet coming before it even existed.
Wow. Yeah, those kind of people are amazing when they can foresee the future that well.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. That has been a great conversation. So thanks everyone for the internet collaboration discussion. All right. So what is something new you started or doing this past year? And back to you, Victoria, unless we want to go on the opposite direction.
Yeah, go opposite.
Okay. That would be Gerald then.
Something new I started doing this year?
Yeah. Like, what are you drinking right now? Is that something new, or what did you have?
Pomegranate juice.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's good for you. It has a lot of antioxidants in it.
Nice.
So what have I been doing new this year? No, this pandemic sucks. You know, I'm stuck in the house. You know, it's like I told you. I told someone that my car. I've been exploring the idea of autonomous vehicles. And what that means is when I get into my car, it only goes to 3 different places. It goes to the grocery store, the post office, and Costco. That's it.
Right. Wow. Gerald, we are simpatico right there. And I just drive to our mailbox. I don't even go to the post office. So
yeah. So one thing, I've been working a lot on my music for the past year. I've been working on my recording skills. I'm learning.
There you go.
I mean, with microphone placement and mixing and not turning everything up to 10.
I know. Hey, that is a really good thing to start practicing, because I know that is, those are good skills.
Well, I've had all this recording software like Pro Tools and Isotope Ozone, and I've had those packages for 15 years now, and I never really read the manual. You know, I went in there, I just started twisting knobs and everything. I just didn't have the time to read the manual. And in the past year, I've actually sat down and go, what does this knob actually do? And why does it sound so crappy when I turn it up past 5? You know? And so I'm educating myself. So that's something new I'm doing. I'm actually improving myself.
See? I knew we could get it out of you. That is awesome.
So that's new.
Okay. Doug, you don't have to answer because I think you can.
I will throw out there that on Zerika, the Flaming Lips album, their 8th studio album that they released, that was 4 separate audio systems was required. They turned all of those knobs up to 11. So, but that I have found that's the best way to learn how to mix audio is
turning up to 11.
Oh yeah, well, obviously, but being able to really, you can read a book about what it is to have a sweepable mid that you can take a cut out of 2K, but until you really get in there and can listen to a signal and go, oh, the problem that I'm going to have is in the mid range, and so that means just getting in there and messing with it, I think is absolutely the best way to do it. But yes, the pandemic has been awesome for me because I've made fantastic friends all around the world.
Yeah, Doug is like, Doug was all in. He just jumped in like this was the ukulele swimming pool that he wanted, and he just is swimming around and having an awesome time. I'm really impressed with what you did there, Doug. I was like, all of a sudden, now you know, you give credit where credit is due. Someone else inspired you, and once you said, I'm going to do this, you just went all in. That is very awesome. Okay, Matt, what have you been doing new?
I've been walking. So before the pandemic, I had this really bad habit. We live in a really rural area next to a big forest, and if I want to go to the shops or work, I just get in my car, even if they're only a mile or two away. So I've started walking to work, which is like all across the fields and stuff. I've been chased by cows. I've fell in ditches. I've cut myself on barbed wire. But it's been really amazing. So that's like trying to take something positive out of the pandemic. I've kind of started to really enjoy my local area even more now.
Wow.
And in end of June, I'm going to do a 100-mile walk for charity, and I'm going to take my ukulele. So you'll be able to follow me. I'm going to do songs in the evening when I get to my camp each night. So
we will give you a shout out when that gets closer, please.
Thanks, Stuart. Yeah, so that's kind of trying to take something positive from the pandemic and look after myself and enjoy my local area.
Wow. All right, tell us about being chased by a cow, because I think that's pretty awesome.
Oh man, they're terrifying. You think they're kind of like placid beasts, don't you? And I kind of hopped into a field, and I could see them all looking at me because they get quite protective when they got calves. And you know, when they kind of I don't know if you do know, but they start walking towards you and you think, are they friendly? Are they not? And then you hear the thuds as they start running. And then you realise there's about 15 or 16 of them. So I had my backpack on. I had to run to the other end of the field, jump over some barbed wire, climb through a ditch out the other side. And they're all just stood there mooing at me like mad. It was terrifying.
Wow. Wow.
So I won't go in a field with cows anymore. I walk a really long way around just in case.
Or get friendly with the cows, you know, bring carrots or something and get to know them first, you know?
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe I'll play a tune on my ukulele, but that might make it even worse. They might get even angrier.
No, I heard that works. Playing music yeah. Not that I'm gonna. I don't want to be responsible for any physical damage that happens to you, but yeah, try it out when you're on the other side of the barbed wire fence first, of course, right?
That sounds good. I'll send my hospital bills your way, Stuart.
Hey, your bills are paid for. I wish I was over there for that.
True. Yeah.
Can't double dip. That is a great story, though. All right. No, that is great. I think that's wonderful that you're walking more, and that story you can tell to your workshop participants of the time you went across the field. So that's
true.
Awesome. Okay, Victoria, what have you been doing new?
Well, for the past year and a half, we did do we had a walking phase, a cooking phase. There's just been lots of phases of just changing up routine. But I think probably since the beginning of this year of honing in more on recording, similar to Gerald. And just, I've been using Pro Tools since 2007, but we upgraded our gear about 2 years ago. And then with the streaming, having to learn how to stream, how to make the stream sound good, getting all that technology down has been a challenge and learning a lot. But also, like, I took a couple of online classes for music production, mixing. So it's been coming in handy for recording my new album, which I'm recording all the tracks here. And then I did, I think one of the things I realized in one of the production classes was that I don't think I really want to produce my own music. In that I would prefer to have a second set of ears on it than have it just be what I'm hearing in my head, and just having feedback from another professional musician or just anybody but has a hand in, like, hey, I'm hearing this drum thing, or how about this bass part. So I decided that I don't want to mix it, produce it myself. I'm happy recording really clean tracks and then sending it to somebody.
Right. Because we can't all be
itself, and lining up vocals and preparing all the tracks is a big undertaking. So it's been cool to know how to work it.
Yeah.
But to have a producer that actually you could communicate honestly with, where they can say, man, you're playing that song way too fast, or you're playing that song too slow, or man, you know, that's not the right key for your voice. You know,
right.
You need someone who you trust, and it's not insulting when they tell you these things. It's just helping your music.
Yeah.
Just rely on your own head.
You gotta trust them.
You know, living with Jack, he's has a degree in songwriting as well, and so we bounce a lot of musical ideas off of each other. And then Jeff Stanfield, who I'm hiring to mix the record, he's also a Berkeley grad from back in the day, but writes for Tape Op magazine, and I've worked with him on 3 other albums, Boombox Seance, Key, and When the Night Unravels. And so this is kind of my 4th album. He's kind of post-producing it, so he's not really coming in on the pre-production level. But yeah, he's, there's the honesty there of, look, he'll say like, hey, I'm hearing this other part. Can you play this thing on your ukulele? Or, I'm going to replace that bass part with something else, or, and it's just kind of, and there's sometimes I have ideas where I'm like, oh, I really miss the bass on beat 1. And he's like, yeah, I tried that. And then so I'm like, well, I'm going to play it on beat 1, and then I'm like, yeah, no, that didn't work. So it's like it's trusting other people too, to be like, they know what they're doing, they know what they're talking about,
right?
And when he says it doesn't work, it's because it doesn't work.
Yeah, and there is that amazing thing where when you get a good engineer, like we're a shout out to Al Schmidt, who just passed away, where he could work with artists and really in a good way let them know, Diana Krall, where he was saying, put his hand on her shoulder and say, it's okay, and that turned it around for her. I guess he knew what she was going through at the time, and that helped inspire her. But yeah, those are so important. I know when we're recording our Book 'em Dano album, I was so grateful that we had that Chris Kennison was there to record, and he's a great engineer and had a good ear. And then we would collaborate, knowing that he was recording it, I could help give feedback on the song. When we did the Gilligan's Island tune, and that was I loved being able to think of things, and I would tell it to Chris. I said, I want this guitar part that sounds like The Police, and that Andy Summers kind of reggae strum, and he would just like, yep, here we go, and he was actually playing it too. I go, yeah, that's it. So it's great to collaborate that way. Oh, awesome. Well, we've been on the show for about an hour and a half already, so I want to wrap this up and just thank everyone for being on the 10th anniversary show. Yay! What I did last time was to ask, so, going forward, we have a couple ways we can go. We could wrap it up. 10 years is a long time. Although Doug, I think, is okay with moving forward, but we'll get, what should we do new and different on the show? And we'll go back around the horn. Oops, other way. Okay, there it is. That was Victoria.
What you should do new. Well, I really like Lucy Lemaire's idea of collaboration, that maybe you have your guests collaborate in advance, and then whether it's making an acapella. I haven't done an acapella app, but I know it's kind of popular with some folks, and they could do that, or even just record a track and share it on the show. I think that would be kind of cool.
All right. She said she would teach me how to use TikTok, because that's the young person's game, and I have no idea what that's about. But
God.
Do you know how to use TikTok?
No.
I have no clue. Okay, all right. Okay, I feel better. All right, Matt.
Yeah, I don't know really. I don't mean to sound really like a teacher's pet or whatever, but I think you're doing a great job. So just I've been
Yay!
listening. I've been listening for years. I love you, Stuart. Love you, Doug. It's brilliant. So just carry on what you're doing. Maybe a bit more music would be cool. Like Victoria says, it'd be nice to hear like maybe. Because people don't, people don't want to hear hours and hours of it, but maybe like just a few minutes from each person would be really cool, something like that.
Here's what I would
keep
love.
doing, Jim.
I'd love help on because one of the things that holds me back is that basically I just tell people, hey, if you want to be on the show, I'd love to have you play, but make sure it's an original song. Now, I know there's a way to get kind of a blanket license. And I don't know. Hopefully, I'm going to look into it. But if you know a good, inexpensive way of getting a license, that would be great because then it would really open it up. Then I could just say, play whatever you want. I don't have to worry about it. Now, YouTube, they don't care.
The difference is whether you're performing it live versus playing a recording.
Right.
So I think that's where the difference lies as far as cover songs go.
It is. And Meredith Harper got a license for her show. And it was so it's not inexpensive, but it was reasonable. It was like $250. I don't know if it was Australian or US dollars a year. So I'm kind of thinking that's a little bit, much for the show, but I can look into that. But if anyone knows a really good way, apparently in Australia, they make it really easy. But I have not found that necessarily to be the case in the U.S. I don't know, Victoria, have you had any experience with that?
And no, and as far as being an original music performer, so there's I've performed on or shows that they're like, well, we can only have original music. I'm like, not a problem.
Right.
So I prefer it. I love it when people come to me and say like, we only have original music. And I'm like, yes, this is what I want to do anyways. But I know that there just is an issue with streaming music, like just playing a recording. And I'm sure even if you maybe streamed like my music, it might get picked up somewhere from, like they're like, oh, you don't own this. So I think there's just that it's just the audio. So I mean, performing live, maybe having the artist create a video. They could even be like a video of them playing a song live that is only used for this podcast. That might be a way around it.
I guess of the music industry, I wish they would evolve faster. Now they have, to their credit, I use a song licensing service that is fairly easy to use and reasonable fees. If I want to do a cover song, I wish they would do that for like a blanket license where I just don't have to worry about it. So if anyone knows about that and how much it costs, let us know.
Yeah, my kind of one beef with blanket licenses is that it doesn't necessarily go to the songwriter that you're playing. So it's going to Billie Eilish and John Mayer.
Exactly.
Instead of,
I know. I hate that too, right? The BMI and ASCAP and all that. And
they do have like a pot that you can apply for non-broadcast, but now I think with ASCAP, it's only if you perform classical music, you can kind of apply to receive some of those funds that they don't know where to send.
Yeah.
But for,
what is it, Gerald?
It's just stupid. It's really stupid. I mean, so Mrs. Brown's 4th grade class records a CD, and they do a Bob Dylan tune on it. Does Bob Dylan really need the 17 cents or whatever it is? That and people are so afraid of those.
It's the principal.
No, and it's not
the principal at the elementary school where they recorded it.
Right.
I mean, so someone
principal interest.
So someone from a ukulele club who's not a professional gets on a podcast and sings a Neil Young song. No one's gonna say, "Oh, that, or what I'm trying to say is, does Neil Young really care that this person from a youth club in Seattle is singing his song? They should be honored. They're not going to make money on it. So I don't know. It's so
I know.
strange.
Yeah, we could go. Could have a whole show on this, right? Yeah, Metallica cares.
It's
By the
really
way,
not a problem unless it becomes super successful, which then they'll just throw ads on it anyways, and that's where they make their money.
Yeah,
it's really strange. Just this whole thing, and we could. The internet is smart enough. They just don't want to do it where you could figure all this out. And it's like with the people who really care, like if someone does a song cover of Victoria, I want her to get credit and I want her to get some royalties, right? But they can figure it out. I'm confident if they put enough thought and programming into it, they could figure this out. It's just that to me, it seems like they're skewing it so much towards, well, ASCAP, BMI, and the record companies are harvesting as much as they can. And really, unless you're a big artist, they're not interested in helping you out, it seems like. But, what do I know?
Yeah, they don't distribute it, to all the artists, for sure.
Right. For sure. And they know that, here's where, the bread's buttered. So we're going to make sure that Neil Young and those guys, and even the artists who are very independent minded, like Prince, who passed away, yes, but he was more independent minded. And oh, by the way, he was incredible. Whoa, oh, it's the windy. I'm gonna mute you.
Over.
Yeah, we're gonna mute. That's all right. I'll mute you. Don't worry about it. But yeah, a Prince is an amazing recording engineer type too. So, did you hear about like his vault of thousands of songs that he has recorded? I'd love to hear that someday. Okay.
Last year I purchased the microphone and a piano album.
Yeah.
And it was just basically kind of like 25 minutes each side of him just meddling songs together and going from one into the other. And there's like a little bit of Joni Mitchell in there. And
wow,
it was really cool that it was just kind of, they were just rolling tape. He was just jamming.
Wow. Well, he's got a lot of that apparently in his backlog that they haven't even touched or they haven't even released yet. So that's interesting. All right. Thank you guys so much for being on the show for the 10th anniversary, part 2. This will be episode 100.5, but then next month there'll be episode 102 because, when you round it up.
Is that the metric system?
That's it. The metric. It's math, Okay. Victoria, so great to have you back on the show. We really love having you. Great to see you. I hope you and Jack are safe and healthy. Have you had your first shot yet? I can't remember if you said so.
Yeah, we're waiting at number 2 will be in about a week.
Oh, good on you. So I'm right behind you. Mine's on the 18th. So that's the week after next. Can't wait to get sick. That's what everyone says. Second shot is apparently worse than the first.
But, I would rather that than COVID.
Absolutely. Oh, and I forgot to, this is the first time I've had you on in a while since you did you worked at a polling place. And I don't think I've had you on since then.
That was in November. Working at the Huntington Beach voting center, which this year was the first year we were actually paid. It was a job.
Wow.
And the vote centers hired people to work the polling center. And I think I signed up partly because I was skeptical about the security of the election. And I just was curious, like, how does this all work? And there's no other time that I would have been able to, do that with the training. It was, like online training, in-person training, and then the, 7 days in a row with setup and working the center and tear down.
Wow.
And it was really, and obviously we're dealing, it was during the pandemic. So it was, masks were, I mean, they would say that, if someone refuses to wear a mask, they still have a right to vote, but we would kind of handle them differently, try to do it mostly outside.
Wow.
So it was really interesting, and just being in a very, I guess, kind of a, it's a very different mentality here. And it was just very kind of surprising in some ways, of just the people and attitudes. And I was just kind of like, we're screwed. But,
well, we made it through though. And I have to give hats off to you for doing that. And you got to see.
I was in a couple videos, I'm sure, of people coming in somewhat, harassing us, with their refusing to take off the hat or whatever, and Facebook living a video like, you're denying me of my vote, Victoria. And it was kind of just a little sad, for eventually the police would show up, and then they're like, dude, if you want to vote, you got to give us your hat. And 20 minutes later, people causing a scene, and just.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, though, that that you did what was right, and you got to see the whole process, and and it worked eventually, more or less.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad you did that.
I mean, the technology for it, and as far as people saying in California you don't have to check ID. And people are like, well, how do you do it? And basically, if you have an address, even if you're a homeless guy, you can say like, this is where I live on this street corner, you can vote, and they verify all the votes. And but and the thing, like, people would argue about the driver's license and the technology. We could scan people's driver's license, but half the time it's like, is this your address? Oh no, I moved. Or like, oh, I didn't update I never got a new license. Or, oh, I got married. And like, and it's just like, well, this information is like worthless anyways, so I don't even know why you're handing me your ID.
Yeah. Good to hear from that side of it. All right. Well, I think Gerald,
we lost Gerald.
Waved goodbye. He may have had to.
I got out of here.
It was great to have you back on the show. We will give Gerald our regards, and we'll all say thank you to Gerald too. All right, Matt. So great to have you help us celebrate.
Thanks, Stuart. You too.
Yeah, and what is coming up for you? And Victoria, if you have anything to let us know or send us a link.
I'm trying to think of things really. I've written a couple of books. So I've written a jazz chord melody book. So
just a couple.
Nice.
Some jazz chord melodies. So all sorts like Roundabout Midnight, and some unusual ones like Doxy by Sonny Rollins and things like that. Chord melody style for ukulele. So that's been good. And I've just written a ukulele reference book. So kind of like all the scales, all the chords up the fretboard, circle of fifths, like anything you could ever want as a ukulele teacher or student in one place, because I'm always sending my students off to one book for this and one book for that and another book for this, so I put it all in one. So that's my big thing really.
There you go.
So that's it's been taking up all my time. If I look at another fretboard diagram, I think I'm going to go insane. It's been good.
And the link to that is in the show notes.
Yay! Thanks, Doug. You're a gent. And then my walk in June. So perhaps I'll send Doug a link to that later. That I'm doing charity in June. So you can join me virtually from America or South America or Asia, wherever you are, and see how I'm getting on and see how many blisters I've got, and play some ukulele with me.
Well,
that's so cool.
And we reach everyone. Victoria. We have listeners all over the world. In
that's so
Europe,
cool.
Yeah, US, I think even in Asia. Awesome.
Aww. Hey, and congratulations yourself for 10 great years. So well done, chaps.
Great. Thank you so much. Doug, what's coming up for you?
Oh, we just had our outer space in honor of May the 4th coming up. We had our outer space songs meeting, and it went very well. Although Tavy Brown, my daughter, was going to play trumpet with me, we were going to, we were playing Final Countdown, and I got up to the chorus, and she went "Ba-da-dip," because she hadn't adjusted the sound settings on Zoom.
No.
It's like, oh no! So I think I'm gonna have to figure out a meeting theme for the third Saturday of the month that I can shoehorn in Final Countdown, because listening to her play the trumpet, by the way, is graduating with the French Honor Society with a little French, because she's a third-year French student. I know Victoria is all about
is a French.
in the France.
She's a polyglot. Yes.
And,
awesome.
and playing trumpet and playing ukulele. So, she's a fan. I'm just going to say.
And we got Gerald back. Yay!
My iPad died.
Oh.
So now I'm still in the ecosystem.
Oh, you're dropping out, but we're going to make sure that we get to you, Gerald. Yeah, another first world problem, batteries dying. I know, rechargeable batteries. One of these days they're going to make like computers that last forever on one charge, or a lot longer. Or we should have just
Aloha.
Oh,
that's great.
Okay, well, I don't know. Do I have anything else that I can? Oh, wait. Let's see if we can add him back real quick.
Hey, he's back.
All right.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah. No. All right, Gerald. What are you up to? What are you going to be doing next?
Let's see. What am I? I'm recording a bunch of songs. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. Maybe I'm thinking of doing some theme albums. I'm thinking of doing a theme of 1960s TV themes done on the ukulele.
Oh, nice!
But not singing. I'm actually playing them as pieces of music.
Yeah, chord melody. I love it.
They're beautiful melodies from the 1960s. They actually did write melodies for the jingles and the themes of the show. So I'm doing that. I don't know if it's going to come out or not. I have a list of songs I'm thinking of doing. I've got a new uke coming my way. Pat McGowan from out in Oregon is building a uke for me, and hopefully it'll be here by the end of this month. And it's a little different. It's what he calls a lyric tenor. You know how a tenor ukulele has a 17-inch scale?
Mm-hmm.
Well, this one has a 17.9-inch scale, almost 18. So it's halfway between a tenor and a baritone.
Wow.
And I don't know. It might be kind of cool. Let's see what happens with it.
Wow.
Is it tuned just like a tenor?
I think so. I think I'll tune it like a tenor, and if the strings are too high tension, I might have to tune it to one step lower, which I don't want to do. I don't want to do that. I hope I could tune it up to pitch without the strings being too tight. So we'll see what happens.
Wow.
I've seen the pictures. Pat has sent me a very beautiful Sinker rosewood top and a Sinker redwood top and rosewood sides and back. Beautiful work. Pat does amazing work.
Wow. So great to know that there's still so many great artisan luthiers around,
I'm going to go grab a new uke. 1 second.
Okay.
But I can still hear you. I'm still here.
All right. She's got that's right. She's got the AirPods on. We can't talk about her behind her back.
I hear you.
Go ahead, Gerald.
We are living in the golden age of lutherie right now. There are so many good builders out there in terms of acoustic instruments, guitars, banjos, mandolins, ukes, violins. I mean, I remember back in the 70s when the hippies decided that they were going to build instruments. It was total garbage, the stuff they put out. It really was bad. It was bad stuff. I mean, it may have looked nice, but it sounded like crap, a lot of the stuff. And the hippies who stuck with it became better builders over the years. And now there are just so many good builders.
This was what's really weird. I started on ukulele 20 years ago because I found a luthier and I had him make an ukulele. But I thought it would go away for some reason. I thought the market would be saturated. I guess that's not the case because it's still going strong. And so, Victoria, what do you have here? Is this a a bean sprout?
This is my new Maya Moe made by Carrie.
Okay.
But the cool thing about this, so the new album I'm working on is the item that so far the working title is Stonehouse. And so all the music is like 8 of the 10 songs were written to the pieces of artwork by Fred Stonehouse, and then one art piece was made for the song, and then one I'm just picking. So all the music is paired up with the art. And I was contacted, it was almost a year ago, by a pyrographer in Hawaii named Dino Muradian. There's an article in Ukulele Magazine about him, but he burns images into wood, into gourds, furniture, but also ukulele. So he's like, do you have a ukulele that I can burn? And so I contacted Carrie, and I'm just like, he needs the ukulele before it's finished. Like he needs it like kind of mid build. And so I thought, well, what image do I want burned into this ukulele? And he can make a dollar bill look like a dollar bill on a ukulele, or he really detailed work. But I decided to do something a little quirkier. So I took one of Fred Stonehouse's art pieces and had it burned into the wood.
Okay, that is different.
This piece is called Echo of Luck, which is the name of one of the songs on the record. And it's a little bit about superstition, and the pieces are really cool. So that's the back of the uke, and then we had the little leaves put on the sides and the front here. Sorry, the lamp.
That is actually featured in the article that there's a link to in the show notes in Ukulele Magazine.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's really cool. And so this whole kind of project is, it's definitely probably showcasing more of my songwriting more than ukulele playing, and some using a lot of samples. There's a lot of strings, piano, but it's all, and all the songs are tied to these art pieces. So I think it'll be kind of a new piece of art. But the uke to go with it. But it's pretty rad.
That is pretty rad, as they say. Wow. Nice. And we interesting that we had Aaron Keim on, of course, was part of my Mo, and then he mentioned that was it Rob that took it over, you said?
Carrie.
Carrie, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the original owner retired, and he passed it on to Carrie, and that's awesome that my Mo is still going strong that way. Cool.
Yeah, I think it was a matter of Carrie was originally just going to purchase all of Maya Moe's equipment for building ukuleles, and then during their time together, it was decided, like, he's like, maybe I'll just keep the name and keep it going. But it's awesome that Aaron is, kind of living out his dream with Bean Sprout. He was building Bean Sprout banjos way before Maya Moe was building.
Yes.
And, it's been a long dream of his. So it's really cool to see him, and with now his knowledge and expertise from building with Maya Moe to just take that and just put Bean Sprout. I mean, his stuff is great.
I
got his 500th ukulele.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
You're the one that got it? Oh, that's awesome.
I love it. Absolutely love it. I love Aaron's
I don't think he mentioned that because he did mention that he built his 500th. That is wild. Well, look at this. The circle is completed. The only thing I regret is I remember when Aaron was at the Denver Ukulele Festival and he had his Bean Sprout ukulele, and I go, that's never gonna go anywhere. So I'm not gonna get one of those. Was I wrong? I should have bought one then.
See, if you're really cool though, you have the Bean Sprout cabinet doors.
What? What is that?
So, and Stuart, you were there last week on the podcast. He talked about how his
the cabinet,
linking.
Yes.
And so he has made cabinet doors for himself.
Yeah, he did the opposite of the immigrants from Portugal. They started out as cabinet makers and became ukulele makers. He did the opposite, where he was an ukulele maker and then he did cabinets. So it was just inverted. Yes, sorry. So Aaron, shout out to you. I hope your kitchen turns out well. So
yeah, he said at this rate something like it'll take 13 years before I finish. It's like one door a year.
Is that what? Nice. Oh, well, this went a little bit longer than I expected. I hope everyone hung in there. Thanks so much.
It's nice to see you guys and hang out and chat.
Yeah, and I hope everyone stays healthy and you get your second shot and we can all see each other again. Well, Matt, I haven't seen you in person, but hopefully I'll get to do that sometime.
One day. One day.
One day.
When they let us in the country.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
All right. Well, as we always do on 3, let's all say aloha. And thanks again to everyone for being on the show. Lovely to see everyone. Thank you so much for helping us celebrate. And here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Aloha. See you guys.
Thanks to everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.